last year you had this Pelicans team down bodies. You learned a definite lesson from them this year. What's the challenge in preparing for a team without their best players sometimes?
Well, no, not only the Pelicans. I think you could look at our season all last year, and every time someone was down a man, we kind of exhaled a little bit, and you can't do that. And that's been the history of the NBA. Every team is like that, and that's why I hate seeing if guys are out, because guys, human nature just allows them to relax a little bit. Oh, we don't have to deal with this guy tonight. And that's not true, because somebody is trying to come up and take up the slack, and they will. That's the nature of the league. That's why you have a 15-man roster, and that's why guys are in this league for a reason. They all can play. So whoever's in uniform, you've got to be prepared to fight, to focus, and to be ready to play.
First 11 of 15 on the road. You got a couple players nicked up right now. Just how's the mentality of this team, knowing that they're only home for a couple days before you guys head out for another 5-game run?
Well, it works both ways in the fact that, we have guys down, but somebody's got to step up. Everybody wants more playing time. They're complaining about playing time. Here's an opportunity. You don't want those kind of opportunities because you want everybody healthy. But next man up, the guys got to step in and play and perform and do their job. And so far, James has done an admirable job, and Norm has done a good job of stepping in for the guys that have been out. We got to continue that, no matter who's in uniform, because injuries are a big part of the NBA. There's going to be injuries, so guys have to be prepared to step in and play. So everybody's, focused, knowing that we're nicked up a little bit. But again, there's no excuse not to come out and do your job.
Patrick's struggled a little bit, and you'll probably be the first to admit that. How are you guys just encouraging him? Because he is going to bounce back at some point.
No question. The shooter's always going to be, he's not going to forget how to shoot. Guys go through slumps or whatever you go through. Hitters go through slumps. Golfers get the yips. So, but you keep working, you keep putting, you keep working on your game. And Pat is doing that. So I have all the confidence in the world. We're still going to run plays for him, and sooner or later, and again, it becomes mental. But there's so many other things you can do in the game of basketball other than shoot the ball that I look at. Okay, yeah, he's not making shots right now, but he's also penetrating. He's also defending. He's bringing energy. He's running the floor. There's so many other things he can do that can help us.
Is Pat maybe a bit more? He seems to be a very thoughtful guy. Is he maybe more? Does he overthink things more than other players?
Like you, Eric. Like
yes.
you. Yeah,
I'm trying to find the perfect word.
He was overthinking
overthinking the question. There you go. No, you're right, E. Sometimes you do overthink it. Play basketball. Have fun. It's a game. It's not rocket science. And he is. He's one of our most astute players that we have. He understands every position offensively, every position defensively. And so, again, don't overthink it, just play.
Intelligence is a burden.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
On the other hand, Luis, when you got Luis, did you think he would start popping three-pointers for you at this rate?
No, he's a pleasant surprise. He's works on it again every day, after practice, and so I see him do it. But again, he's done a good job of spacing the floor and being a three-point threat for us. I think it started down in Dallas. Again, we encourage all of our guys, if you work on it, you've got the green light, feet set in the corner, take those threes.
When he finds himself in that corner, is that because he's part of a set, or is he just kind of read the position? Like, did you run things?
No, he's a part of a set, and we have certain situations where we won't place guys where his man has to tag and his man has to help, and he or the slot guys should be open. And our guys are doing a good job of reading that. Luis is doing the key is making the shot, and the slot guy making a read of that guy's caught being in a 2-on-1, and we're doing a good job of finding the corner.
Was it chicken or egg? Like did he start making shots and you ran those sets, or did you run those sets and the ball found him? Like, which was it?
I don't know. It's a good question. Well, the key is we run the sets. We've been running the sets, and he's knocking down the shots. I mean. Again, a lot of times when Kyle comes off or Cory comes off, they get deep in the paint, or DeMar comes off, he gets deep in the paint, and there's no pass out. So, Philly was playing the pick and roll in a certain way that caused him to be open, and we called the play a couple of times, and he was open.
As a team, the three-point shooting has been down a little bit. How much of a concern is that now with Damari and Terrence out?
It's always a concern. It was a concern even with them making them. They're takers, but we got to be makers. And it's a concern, again, when Luis finds his three the way he has. I am all confident in the world Pat's going to come back and find his. And Kyle's always a three-point threat. So it's a concern, but again, we got to still play. There's other ways to score. We got maybe have to get them the old-fashioned way, get them inside, let JV get some sweat shots and three-point plays the old-fashioned way. But again, you always want your shooters out there on the floor, and if anything else, spacing.
Cory's NBA resume was sort of limited coming into this season, not having played a ton, so presumably you guys looked at his expected value in a bigger role. Has he been better than you expected this early in the season?
He has. He's his energy, his toughness was it wasn't a surprise, but it's really been glaring. He's really filled in playing the small. I didn't know how much we could play the two guards together, but he plays bigger than he is. He's not the typical point guard. He can guard twos. He can get down there and wrestle with some threes. If he gets switched off, he gets in the big guy's knees and boxes him out. So he is better than expected, but still there's room for growth for Cory. He's not a finished product by any means. So that's also the positive with him. As you said, his upside is still there. His three-point shooting is going to improve.
It seems like he's been so consistent. What kind of goes into that for a player? What is it about Cory that makes him such a consistent player?
Well, DNA, I think, is anything else. His mom and dad were involved in basketball. He had good high school coaching, good college coaching, good coaching at San Antonio. So his DNA, and then his path has also led him to be the player he is. He's tenacious. He's locked in. He brings energy every time. That's the last thing you have to ask him is to go hard. That makes him who he is mostly is his DNA and where he's come from.
How much opportunity is there right now with a couple of regulars out for guys like Norm Powell, maybe Anthony Bennett? I mean, what do they need to do to grab it?
Keep doing what they're doing, playing hard. One, defend their position, and make sure that they understand what they're doing, be there on time. They made some critical mistakes defensively as far as where they should have been in the last game. Hopefully we shored that up the last couple of days. But again, offense is low on the totem pole from those two. I mean, if we get it, it's gravy. But make sure we don't have to ask you to defend your position and be where you're supposed to be in a defensive scheme.
You know Terrence might be a little ways away from his return. How is the recovery for Damari going?
We'll see. He's day to day. Damari's day to day. So we'll see, and there's no timetable on Terrence Ross.
Does Norm show any signs of being the kind of shooter that can play the position he'd probably have to play yet?
Yeah, he can. He's not there yet, Michael. I think with time, his form is there, his follow through. It's just a matter of time. He's got to get used to the NBA line, which he spent all summer doing, and he's much better than he was, but still. He's got to do it, continue to do it, and that's part of his growth is making sure that's a big part of what he does is automatic three, especially his size. He's tough, he's gritty, but at the end of the day, he's with 6'4", 6'5", and he's got to be able to stretch the floor a little bit, and he's working on it. I mean, he stays up there all night and all afternoon working on it, and again, it's going to come.
Because he offers some things defensively. I mean, schemes aside, that
big time.
To really get into guys.
Big time toughness. He's one of our toughest guys, getting into people, fearless, in a stance, gritty, just everything you need in a one-on-one defender. Just understanding the schemes, where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to do in certain situations.